Hey there, welcome to the first day of summer. What does that mean to us? Well, let's see. That's when the northern hemisphere tips towards the sun. We're actually in the far part of our orbit away from the sun, but we're tipped at it. And so days get longer. Longest day of the year today. Uh, Depends on what latitude you're at. If you're in Alaska, maybe it's midnight sun. Uh, Here, the day's about an hour and a half longer than it was on Christmas, so it gets a little longer here too. Well, we usually see less rain is not unusual. That some places, at least in the Midwest, mainly in the United States, will tend to get a little drier as we enter into summer. Uh, Definitely, it gets warmer. And I'm sure with the heat waves I see across the mainland, I'm sure there's nobody there happy about that. But it's true, today is the longest day of the year, and they're going to start getting shorter, but uh, the heat takes a while to catch up. Planet's still kind of cool from winter. Takes a little while for that heat to build up. So somewhere in August, we'll start to see the dog days. Now, for most of us, we would have the garden planted. That's typical. So you get towards the middle of June, even people up in Alaska, have their potatoes in. So it's definitely time that you'd have the vegetables and the flowers and all in the ground and growing. This is a time for feeding, weeding, picking. That's pretty much what summer's for. Now there is time, depending on where you live, to replace some crops. If your green beans are finished, you can plant another crop in most places, provided you have enough water, and it's not looking good. My brother in northern Illinois is in one of the driest parts of the state there at the moment, and he says there's no way. He just can't put down enough water to keep up with the drought. It's been dry for a couple of years there now. Like like a fool, he's been sick, had an operation, and so I said, well, he's out of work for a little while. I thought, I'll send him some garden seeds. He can plant himself some cabbages and stuff. Oh boy, was that smart. There's not enough water to grow anything. This is affecting the West and the Midwest. The price of food, look out. Farmers got to have water in most places, whether it's out west and it's irrigation water, or it's in the east where they usually rely on rain. And then when they get too much rain, that don't work either. But welcome to summer. Yeah, here you can see that's a little warmer. It's a little warmer. I had temperature yesterday, I think 82. We did see one afternoon where it peaked out to 87 degrees. That was pretty interesting. I went and put on my swimming trunks and jumped in the fish pond. That's been the hottest this year. It lasted about an hour. I should complain, right? You guys are roasting there in the western states at the moment. So the tomatoes are responding by producing well. It's much drier than usual now. And so I'm not seeing the powdery mildew and the rots and things that I'd ordinarily get when there's too much rain around here. It's actually, all in all, it's pretty good weather here in Hawaii for both growing a garden and for people. You see, it's clouding up and cooling off now. I should have been weeding now and doing the video earlier. Instead, I was out early. I was out earlier pulling weeds and getting the garden cleaned up a bit over there, and said, I'll get to the video later. And it was sunny and beautiful, just wonderful. And now that I'm sitting here doing the video, the clouds are here, it's getting cool, and the perspiration around my collar is beginning to feel like an air conditioner. Best laid plans, as they say. So anyway, feeding, weeding, and picking, that's what this is all about. I would tend to stay away from doing too much planting during the peak of summer months. You know, those of us who have fairly long growing seasons, waiting until it begins to cool down, you know, if you're zone 6 and south in the U.S., as summer cools off a bit, then there's another season for more broccoli, more cabbage, more lettuce, more spinach, you know, all that kind of stuff. And even if you're living up in the northern Great Lakes, like up in the UP, even up there, you know, you got a cool season garden that works usually throughout most of late September and almost all of October. You can usually manage cold weather hardy vegetables too, and so you know that planting will come on later in summer, depending you know on what's the duration of time. Remember, the days are getting shorter, so if the radish says it takes 25 days, coming into fall it might take 35. Okay, bear that in mind. But you know, as for, oh man, some of the rest of the stuff I see over there with the tornadoes and the floods and the drought and the heat, I don't know how much food we're going to be getting. You know, I'd be glad to hear from folks over in the mainland about how well their gardens are actually doing this year. You know, whether you're getting by over there. What we see in the television eye here, it don't look good. It doesn't look good at all. So there's my message for the first day of summer, the longest day of the year. Aloha all, and you hang loose.